Welcome to Design or Design. My name is Maria and today we're going to be talking about the second part of the accessory trends Spring-Summer 2025. In the first part I covered earrings, bracelets, necklaces, rings, more like of the jewelry type. This time I'm going to be talking about gloves, belts, scarves, etc. So let's get started. And let's start with something I'm wearing today. Like, what am I not wearing? A scarf. Yes, I already covered it in the hat trend of Spring-Summer 2025. We also see them gracing the necks of male models, bringing a little bit more of a Western twist on it, as well as female models. Why am I being so sexist? We see quite a variety of bandana types on there as well. We see more of the elegant scarf bowl and Celine show here, while in some other shows like Diesel as well as Kenzo, along with Bottega Veneta, they had the scarves as part of the garment. Maybe it was multiple scarves creating a dress. Maybe it was just a shawl that been tied around the bust to conceal it. Maybe it's a part of the dress or like a top, just instead of a top, having a scarf thing like that. Probably gonna have lots of double-sided tape in there. We do see them worn in a very elegant, natural way on their head, as there should be, in Gucci as well as in Nina Ricci, quite a lot of them in there with very long tails. We also see them worn as belts, which is pretty cool and really versatile. We also see some interesting ones bouncing with a wire mesh that's hold them together. Interesting. Am I gonna wear it? Probably not, but who am I to judge? All right, next one up are ties. We're still seeing a lot of that office siren looks. So many, and ties are being used so much on the street style as well. So I'm here to show you that yes, you can still wear ties. I love incorporating them in my everyday outfits, even bringing it into the street style as well. I feel like ties are really cool and really you should all try wearing one. The styles that this would most apply to would be definitely preppy, maybe sporty. There's lots of mixture of the sporty and office attire right now. Military, maximalist, maybe eclectic. I don't really see it in boho or romantic. Grunge, yes, why not? I think it's gonna be really cool. We see so much really oversized suiting in Yves Saint Laurent. We also see this in Bottega Veneta, and many shows have given us ties. Either they could be contrasting to everything else, they can go with everything else, so they're very hard to see as it's like all one color. We also see them with different pinstripes, different colors, different designs. I have a faux leather one which I love wearing with all black look. It just gives that interest to the outfit. I'm like moving my arms a lot. Bottega Veneta had the different textures in there, as well as really thin, messy ties, as if you like put it in a wash and it got stuck in there somewhere and tied it around itself. We also see Schiaparelli. Remember the hair braids? Now they're giving a more wearable situation of having it made up of a scarf or more of like a metallic accessory. We also see a lot of bows around the neck here. In Moschino, we have like a shoelace wrapped around as a choker. Here we see it in Zimmermann, more of a small leather tie thing with other accessories. A little bow ties here and there. Nina Ricci having more of a maximalist tie here. But yeah. Let's move on to tights. I am quite a fan of tights, especially in the fall winter season. For spring summer, they might be a little too much. It just depends on you. So maybe a lighter den would be great. So we can see a variety of them, some colored, some more sheer, maybe a little bit more on the lace type tights, like here in Valentino. Tights come in so many different varieties that you're bound to find something for your style. It just depends on what kind of tights you have or what kind of style you have. You can find an appropriate tight. But for fall winter, yes, it's okay. But for spring summer, maybe substitute it for socks, which we've seen a lot of on the runways. Something a little bit taller. Have you seen the reel, like how to find out what age you are? Yeah, anyways, millennials out there, wear taller socks. Don't give away your age. That's how I do it. Anyways, we see so many stockings, so many like knee-high socks on the runways. It's incredible. Balenziaga here with the faux stockings, which are actually tights. Miu Miu had so many leg warmers out there. This is really cool, quite unique, and I feel like more weather appropriate for spring than the full-on tights. The height of your socks might also be determined by how wide your calves are and if you want to accentuate that thickness of your calf or not. So if you have really thick calves, as I do, then go for something knee-high, just because if you draw a line there, it will accentuate it more. So if you draw a line on your knees, which are usually the thinner part of your legs, or the ankle, then it will accentuate that thickness of your legs. Anyways, moving on to boa. Yes, okay, I improvised. I don't have a boa, but I just improvised with this. There is lots of them on the runways. Dolce Gabbana, or here in Bottega Veneta, more of this weird material. I don't even know what it is. In Valentino, lots of faux furs, like really long ones. The reason I'm adding this here today is because the next season is already out, you guys. That's a secret, but there's lots of them. There's lots of the fox tails or whichever tails there are. There's so much of this. So don't walk, run to the vintage store, to thrift store, I don't know, somewhere where you can find this and get it, because next fall winter, this is gonna be huge, okay? Okay, you were warned, that's it, I did my job. So you can see just how much of it was on the runways, especially in Valentino, especially eclectic style. Maybe it could go well with the Western style as well, just depends on the fur. Glam style, yes. All right, moving on to belts. We see belts in so many different shapes and sizes, and we do see a lot of snake print on the Dres Van Noten show here, and the belts are usually long, so long that it has a tail hanging. It's really hard for me to find one just because I'm not the skinniest person in the world. So just go for the longest belt you can have and maybe make some holes in it if it's thrifted, right? The addition of that tail creates that longer silhouette and more interest. I really like it. Not every outfit had that long tail, and that's okay. But if you like it, here it is. I like it. I love it. And the belts ranged from whatever colors to whatever colors. They sometimes matched the outfit, sometimes there were a statement accessory that were different in color. If you do want that difference, like think about the height of your pants and your proportions, for instance. If your legs are shorter and you're wearing a high-waisted something, by putting a contrasting belt, you're once again making your legs shorter. If you're gonna wear a belt that matches your pants, it will elongate your legs. The other way, if your legs are too long and you're wearing a belt that matches your pants, you're adding those inches to your legs, right? But if you're wearing something really contrasting, then it will give you the length to your top upper half. Hopefully that made sense. Anyways, belts, yes, for sure, this fits the office core aesthetic to the T. We all need the belt sometimes. Like, I'm right now a fan of buying pants that are much larger than my own size, just for the bagginess of it, you know? But then I need a belt so they don't fall off. So that is a perfect example. We also see a lot of accessory belts, like maybe a chain belt on just a waistline, naked waistlines, you know, or belting a blazer of some sort with a thinner belt as well. Thin belts, yes, they're here. You can also get those out of your storage. By the way, I want to do a quick check-in. Do you guys prefer me reading off the script? Previous few videos were like that, or more going off of what I see and having conversation with you? I'd love to know what you think down below. All right, here we go. Once again, either contrasting belts or not. We also see a few of the really thick belt, almost looking like a corset. In Michael Kors, we also see in Jacquemus, very like tight corseted type of belt that is thicker in nature, but it's completely up to you. You can also recreate this by layering the belts on top of each other and making kind of corset for your waistline as well. We do see a lot of the layering of the belts in the Miu Miu show, so if you're interested in that, make sure to check it out. Etro also has a couple of belts, but they're worn a little bit differently. Stella McCartney, here we go. Here they accentuating the hips by wearing it a little bit lower and having a contrasting belt on to maximize the hips width, because models, let's face it, they don't really have a lot of that. For men, I think a belt is a non-brainer. There is like a few pocket chains, a few little hanging chains as well, double belted here in Louis Vuitton to Versace, more of a thinner belt here with maybe a little bit of an accessory here and there. My voice is about to die. I'm like, oh. We also seen in, I believe it's Prada. Prada had bags that had belts on them, as well as Balmain. If you want to check that video out about bags, you can definitely do that, and that trend I do mention in there too. We also see in Balmain the really metallized belts that are quite thick in nature and act more of an accessory rather than a belt, let's face it, on the waistline. We also see more of a accessorized, maybe beaded belts, maybe leather with some rings here in Isabelle Marant, a little bit more bohemian vibes. Here we see it in Zimmermann as well, layering once again of the belt and maybe like a different belt on top or a necklace, more of a wrap or like a leather scarf around the hips or around the waistline. Sometimes you can use the belt to hold your open coat not open, you know what I mean? All right, you guys, gloves, yay. All right, so we see several different types of gloves on the runways. Here in Dior, you can see them going up to their shoulders and tied at the back so they don't fall off. We also see the opposite to it, the small, like either biker gloves. Here it's more of the archery gloves that have the two fingers. Really interesting take on it. Opera gloves and Celine makes sense. The vibe is there. Moschino had the opposite, more of a street style with the opera gloves. I love it. Really cool polka dot designs on there as well. We also see them a little bit shorter, which is a little bit more manageable. Acne Studio had a lot of printed gloves with florals, of really statement making and an interesting take on the glove situation. Gucci was another fan of these smaller gloves, which were more like a biker fingerless gloves situation for spring summer. Interesting. Like, are you going on a bike ride? Where's your helmet? That is my preference on this take. But you know what? This is the reason I'm not a head designer in Gucci. I'm just a commenter that doesn't really understand why, but that's okay. Yes, for spring summer, it's an interesting idea of wearing gloves. Off-White had just the fingers covered in the glove. Nina Ricci here. Can't really tell how tall these gloves are just because they're underneath the sleeves. Jacquemus adored using gloves as an accessory for the bag. We just seen the accessorizing of the belt with like hanging your gloves over the belt. Here we see the accessorizing of a bag in the same way. The last dress, beautiful, with the dress becoming the glove, perfection. Valentino here with the gloves in lace. Much more manageable situation for spring summer, and that is definitely something that I probably are wearing. Alright you guys, this completes the second part of the accessory trends, and if you have missed anything, I have a video about shoe trends, bag trends, hat trends, the first accessory trend video which covered the jewelry basically, and now this. If you wanna say thank you for so much hard work, which it is honestly, you can always put it in the comments down below. Maybe give me a nice little like, and if you're not ready, please do subscribe, and if you're a superstar, please share my video with somebody who you think would enjoy it. If you want to see how I style some of these accessories for every day, then I encourage you to check out my Instagram, where I show you my daily outfits and sometimes some behind the scenes footage from runways or creative photo shoots. Well, this is it from me. I hope you're gonna have an amazing rest of the day, and yeah, stay classy. Bye.